All right, let's get right into it. On-chain privacy. You know, it's a topic that's really heating up again, especially with all the talk about surveillance and who's watching our financial moves. So today, we're going to try and crack the code on privacy coins. So, you probably got into crypto thinking your transactions were, anonymous, a secret between you and the blockchain. But we have to start with the big question that kicks this whole thing off. Is your crypto really private? Well, the problem actually starts right here with something called a public ledger. I want you to think of it like a bank statement, but for the entire world to see. Now, sure, your name isn't on it, but your address is. And here's the catch. The second that address interacts with an exchange that knows who you are, or even if someone just analyzes your transaction patterns, poof, that anonymity can start to fade. And all of a sudden, your entire financial history isn't so private after all. And that is exactly where privacy coins come into the picture. They're this whole class of cryptocurrencies designed from the ground up to solve what's basically blockchain's biggest open secret. So what are they exactly? Well, at their core, privacy coins are built specifically to hide the key details of a transaction. We're talking about wallet addresses, the amounts being sent, the whole shebang. Instead of shouting all this info out for everyone to see, they use some pretty clever cryptographic tricks to keep it all under wraps. So why does this matter so much? Well, these coins really serve three crucial needs. First, they enable transactions that can't be easily blocked or censored. Second, they make payments way harder to trace. And third, they let you send money without broadcasting all your financial details to the world. At the end of the day, it's all about giving users back some control and confidentiality. But here's the thing. Not all privacy is created equal. There's a whole spectrum of different approaches out there. So we're going to zoom in on 4 major coins, and you'll see each one has a totally different philosophy on how to get the job done. Okay, here are the main players we're going to break down. Monero, Zcash, Zano, and Dash. This table gives you a quick snapshot of their different angles, right? You've got everything from Monero's full privacy philosophy all the way to Dash's model of payments with optional privacy. So let's dive into what makes each one tick. First up, we've got Monero. You could kind of think of Monero as the purest of the group. Its entire reason for being is built around one simple, powerful concept: privacy by default. Every single transaction is private. No exceptions, no opt-outs. It's mandatory. So how does it pull this off? Monero uses this really powerful tech stack. For instance, ring signatures basically mix a sender's transaction in with a bunch of others, making it impossible to tell where it really came from. And stealth addresses create a brand new one-time use address for every single transaction. You combine that with a totally decentralized launch and the supply that's designed for long-term security, and you get the perfect tool for censorship-resistant settlement. Next, let's look at a completely different way of thinking with Zcash. Think of this one as the diplomat. It offers what's called selective privacy, which means it gives its users a choice. Zcash was a trailblazer with a technology called zk-SNARKs. Now, the easiest way to think about it is this. It's a way to prove you know a secret without actually revealing the secret itself. Pretty cool, right? In the real world, this lets you prove a transaction is legit without showing the sender, the receiver, or the amount. And this optional privacy model, where you can choose between a private shielded transaction or a regular public one, is a huge reason it's seen as being institution-friendly. It kind of offers a pathway for privacy that can still be compliant. All right, now let's talk about Dash, which I'd call the pragmatist. For Dash, the #1 goal has always been about fast, easy-to-use payments. Privacy is just an added feature, not its entire identity. Its privacy tech is called Private Send, which is basically a form of coin mixing. But what really makes Dash stand out is its laser focus on usability, with things like instant send for almost immediate confirmations. And it has this really unique governance model run by what are called masternodes. All this makes it a really strong choice for things like merchant payments. And speaking of those masternodes, this is what it takes to run one. 1,000 Dash. It is a serious investment, and it gives the operators a direct vote in how the project's treasury funds get spent. It's a very hands-on form of on-chain governance. And finally, we have Zano, or the Visionary. This project is thinking way beyond just being a private coin. It's actually building an entire infrastructure layer for a private digital economy. Zano's whole approach is really unique, starting with its hybrid consensus. It's part proof of work, part proof of stake. Its privacy stack includes tools that go way beyond simple transfers, like escrow contracts, and its roadmap is super ambitious. We're talking bridges to other chains, a native stablecoin, private marketplaces. The big idea here is to be the foundation for a whole ecosystem of private dApps. So if we just take a step back for a second, you can really see this tale of two core philosophies emerge. On one hand, you have Monero's hardcore privacy by default stance that goes all in on anonymity. And on the other, you have Zcash's selective model, which offers flexibility and maybe even a bridge to the regulated financial world. Each path has its own set of trade-offs, right? It's a balance between absolute privacy and practical compliance. But of course, none of this exists in a bubble. And that brings us to what is, without a doubt, the biggest challenge facing all of these projects, the regulatory hurdle. Yet these coins often face some pretty intense scrutiny from governments and authorities. I mean, it makes sense. By design, they make transactions hard to trace. This leads to worries about misuse, and that can lead to delistings from big exchanges in some parts of the world. And it creates this overall cautious vibe from regulators, even though, let's be honest, most people are using these tools for totally legitimate reasons, like financial protection and safety. So where does all this leave us? Let's talk about the future of on-chain privacy, because if anything is clear, it's that the need for it is only going to grow. It all comes back to this one fundamental truth. Transparent blockchains don't protect user activity. That simple statement, that's the core problem that every single project we've talked about today is trying to solve. It's the whole reason this sector even exists. And this really leaves us with a massive question for the future. As more and more of our financial lives move onto the blockchain, what is privacy going to be? Is it going to be an optional premium feature you have to pay for, or is it a fundamental right? That's the huge debate that we're all going to have to think about.